And on 3, 2, 1, yo, 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 to the go-go-goers of Bitcoin. Hi, everybody. This is Bitcoin Moving. Tonight we are going to be doing an intensive on the BTC USDT pair over at Bittrex. And this might take a little, not a whole lot of time, but I'll stay online until I can sort it out, and maybe you can catch the replay when it's all said and done. And while we get started, let's make sure that we can see our event over on YouTube. I'll do that real quickly. Make sure that we're live. This is always exciting to make sure, and we are. We always take a picture. Take a picture, and we go into the event itself. This is always. And we're going to welcome the live chat. Hi, everybody. And as always, make sure that our Nightbot is up to snuff. Signals is one, and rules is another. And the chart looks pretty good. Don't worry about the advertisements, or anything like that. And let me get my link over to the interested parties. Okay. Let the phone go through. Let's see what else I need to do. Oh, I know what I gotta do. The rules need to be put in the box. And I'll go to public space here and grab the rule bot. And these are all of the, I think probably what I should do, because I'm not too sure if I was to put this in chat, what in the world would happen. Probably get pretty crazy fast if I did that. So let me edit the video. I'll save those changes. Come back over to the, I'm just setting up too, by the way, guys, so it always takes a few minutes to set up and get it going right. I'll view it on the watch page. And there we are. Okay, excellent. So in the description, this is new to the stream. It are all of the commands for the Nightbot, the way that they stand now, and then it looks as though the timed bot, we have to wait a few minutes for the time bot to come in. So we'll kind of let that go before we get started. What you'll be seeing me do here is what I call the Condor's Pass. There are different people that call it, you know, the 35,000 foot view or the mile high view, or, you know, the way up view, you know, where you have to push yourself out quite a bit view. Okay, excellent. All right, so we're calling this an intensive because often I do get, you know, I get contacted because the interesting thing about the trade is that each of us have our own, you know, responsibility, our own rule set, our own charts. You know how much I'm a huge proponent of having your own chart in front of you, and yet still that 9 upper left-hand area, this area right here, this is the thing that puts us all together. What pair are we in? What pair are we looking at? And what are we not seeing in the pair that maybe I see, but someone else doesn't see, hence ChartChatConnect. That was the whole reasoning behind it. So this is a perfect example. I did this with OMNI the other night, and I want to say that the trader was able to make a better decision for them, which is exactly where you should always find this sort of kind of intensive, because by doing it, what it's showing you is that it is required almost every single day that you take this condor's pass view of your trade, and that warms you up. It also makes sure that you have curiosity going on and that you're not set in your ways, because your chart's just so dang beautiful, and your chart should be telling you everything. So I hope that this really helps. And our intensive tonight is on the BTC USDT pair. So the very first thing that we need to do, and I'm pretty sure I don't have any markings on this, the first thing that you need to do is, and this always shocks people, okay? This is your pair right here. Now, of course, I need to widen it out and all of that. And your price is right here. And this is the high, and this is the basing low, and when the trade first came onto the market down here. So even when you're looking at it just like this, we haven't widened anything out whatsoever. You really have to understand, wow, where was I? Where did I become interested in the trade? What part of this do we not understand as being profitable? What part of this did we ever think that we were going to be able to manage? Those kinds of things. You really have to do kind of the, the naughty, finger, because this is an exponential move. This is completely out of control. This is a market that is completely out of control when you have a name that looks like this on the monthly. A little better, okay? But let me just get your response so that you understand where I'm coming from when I'm showing this to you, because it is very shocking what I will start to share, okay? Let me widen the chart up just a little teeny bit. We're not even going to go into the bigger time frames yet. I just have to see a few more candles, right? Okay, here we go. This is an old trick so that you can determine where the trade is, where the truth of the trade is. What is the truth of the chart? Okay, so we're going to do a simple Fibonacci, high to low. Now I could do another one, low to high, because I know we're dealing in an area of the market where it's coming off the high, and so there's a lot of crazy kind of talk in here. Okay, so that's, but we're not going to do the low to high. So the high to low, and then we're going to get a horizontal ray tool, and right at the 50% mark. Now that's going to come out different because I've got my mirror multiple in there. That's the wrong tool. Wrong tool. You want to just have a horizontal line. There we go. Right there at the 50%. And you could mark this off. Okay, but this is going to now be considered the free market equilibrium, or the FME line, which is telling me that anything that's below this line will appear and react bearish, and anything above this line will appear and act bullish. Maybe. But now we have some structure of how the trade came in, how the trade just literally jackrabbit. And I can tell you that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 candles, right? So if you're familiar with counting candles, we are in the 9th bar of this incredible move on the monthly now. 9 incredible bars of growth and profit and existential everything, existential, exponential, extraordinary, everything going on in the trade. Okay, so that's the monthly. What do you think the next thing is? You go into the weekly. So in the weekly, we can already see, and pardon for the little pop-ups that are going to be coming up, we can already see that once the trade came out of its base, that it decided that it would start to behave, and it starts to do these, and this is how the discussion got started, these little ledges, okay? There's stair steps. Here's another one. and then maybe this one here, and then the price just took off. So really, as far as the coordination of price, it is not very coordinated. It's acting like a complete unruly sort of beast. And only once, or maybe twice, did it have in the classic sense, where we have a push-up and a ledge of rest, push-up, ledge of rest, push-up, ledge of rest, except for this probably could have handled another bar of rest on the inside, so I'm not too sure that I can really count that one. So there's only two true ledges, let's say, that are in this trade already on the weekly. So we can see now that the free market line doesn't really give us a whole lot of information right here. In fact, it slices right through this bar right here. So I might revisit this bar and then do another Fibonacci just to see what we get, maybe up in this area here from that bar. But we don't know yet. Then what we do is that we go into the daily. And now you're going to see the dust of the Fibonacci draw. Okay, we'll zoom it in a little bit. And now we can better see there's that ledge. There's a little hippie kind of ledge, etc. Let me see where we are with Ruby on this. Of course, it's much better for me to go into the 60-minute. And over here, which is where a lot of the concern is that this is a reversal. This is the exhaustion candle of the top. That's clear as day. And then everything else waterfalls down, looking for the terminus. When will this end? This could be perceived as being the ending bar, and then it pushes up. But then, of course, it's giving now all of this very odd and temperamental moves that are taking the trade short up here. Okay, but we're still not close enough. We'll do the 4-hour. We're getting a little closer now to trying to make some sort of sense of this trade. Okay, I can't figure that out. So here, what we can do is that now we have a Fibonacci swing, and that's a high to low. So we want to go ahead and draw that out. High to low, high to low, and we won't perfect these at all. But what we're looking for is, okay, the range that we're in right now, of course, is here, and that is also a free market. And you have to look at, when I'm talking about free market, like this is something that I came up with. It just means that if I do see that there's any kind of consolidation, candle over candle, anything that performs off of that area, then especially if it's a 50% on the Fibonacci, I'll go ahead. It's like an internal, like an internal clock. And now the reason that this worked out pretty well here was that because we did get this very powerful ledge. So we know that anything that's in this area right here, we're going to be getting quite a bit of volatility. But the big question was, why did I not read this long? Well, it's telling you that you got a bump down at the 618. That's a Fibonacci. You can look that one up online. A lot of Forex guys will cover that. It's where the trade exhausts itself. It does not go beyond the 618, and then it pulls back like it did there, resting at the 382, and now it's ranging back and forth between the 618 and the 382. So we now know what the culture is of the trade. But now we can better see. We can better see that we got this insane atom left to the low, apex, the right shoulder to try and recover, but pretty much, and I'm talking about like the machines registered the FME or the 50% line, powered through it, took it up a little bit further to the 618, and then decided that they would sell it off. So let's make sure that you kind of get that. So here's your high. There's your, oh, I don't want that tool. Sorry, guys. We want just the regular trend tool. Okay. So we have the left. You can probably see it really well now. And of course, when a left is put in play, people are always looking for that apex, because the better play, even though you can trade inside of all of this, of course, but the better trade, and if it collapses, it collapses, is the trade once it goes over this apex here. That's the trade right there. And then you take the trade up. 618, you let it go. And that's what the market did. So it's looking for that right shoulder confirmation, especially once a left shoulder is put in like this. And then there are counting of ledges. We got a ledge off the 96 right here. We got a ledge off the 243 in here. And then, of course, there was consolidation here. Then the complete collapse. Remember, if the 243 loses the trade has nowhere to go. Now, it can look on the left-hand side of the chart for different sorts of things for it to kind of rest and rely on. But, you know, this was just a collapse of confidence here on the left shoulder. Okay, so let me go into the 2 hour. And now the trade will look a little more not as tailored because the lines were so big. And all right, so the trade did go long, so we can see the ruby long. That's the 2 hour. Let me go into the 1 hour and we'll see it a little bit better now. I'll go ahead and get rid of the W lines, okay, because you know where the apex is now. So let me clean up the chart. Clean it up. And clean it up like that. And then you know where the 618 line is. So you kind of have an idea of why the 618 was reached. So we have the ruby cross, decent enough, a little slow, because you've got like a lot of tension up above. So in a way, it was a long, most definitely. It was a ruby long, but with a lot of tension. So what that does is that it creates this kind of skittish view. It hits the 243 and it ledges down. It powers up, it ledges down, it runs out of steam, it gets another bunch of money that comes in, it does one power move, then the whole thing starts to fall apart. You can see that candle right there. That would have told you for a 60-minute bar now, remember I'm not looking at the 1 minute, the 60-minute bar, you would have had 60 minutes for that bar to form this entire region up here, which would have been a slowing and the end, or potential end, of the move. We have to look at all things considered. It isn't a perfect horse race. We have the 96, the 51, the 243 is edged in there somewhere. You can actually look at the right side here to tell where all the EMAs are. So this is a very just unhealthy, difficult short to agree on, because you can see the sharp ledge up, the free market, and the expectation is on a trade like this is that it'll go one ledge down. Well, this is a ledge here, 1, 2, and it can go up to 4 to 5 ledges down, and potentially it can do a full retrace to the ruby long here, down and down and down, and stair step down. One reason is that because it's a full abyss down here. There's no EMA, there's no rule. It's a ruleless trade once it starts to come here. But it'll ping off certain areas. Could be the Fibonacci from the big picture. I'm sorry, the interior swing that we got here. So you'd want to drag this over and make sure that you're keeping track of the trade. They've got to pick up at the 382, hit by the halfway point. So the traditional trade would gather some steam, come back down, and do this a few times. All right, so that's the 60-minute. Let's go into the 30-minute, which was the 30-minute was the chart that I got the SOS on. And so the problem is that when we have a trade that has a lot of pre-recorded areas of confluence, and if there's too much confluence, there will be uncertainty and there'll be a collision of effort and almost like a fight. I call this like a 300 ledge, you know? It's just a lot of conflict. Very hard to latch on to one trade, and it's very range bound too. It's range bound between the 382 and the halfway point, and it could literally ping like this for hours. Up, down, you're thinking, oh, I'll grab it at the 382 and take it all the way down. Then sure enough, the trade is actually in a sideways chop. We got a little bit of it here, got a blow off And it might just be actually doing that sort of thing. Let me get into a box, a rectangle, so I can kind of draw this out. That's one scenario, is that we are looking at something that's range bound. But clearly, if we thought that the trade was going to recover, it would recover at the 50% and start moving back up again, or it would break down at the 302 and go south. So let's see if that helps at all. Of course, I'll take pictures of everything and put it in the chat too. Okay? All right, let's see. Hey, Wes. All right, so let's find out from our intensive, and if you guys have any questions, or if I should check my Twitter. And I don't see any tweets. Okay, so this is one of the problems. Is most traders won't start from the beginning. It kind of feels like this. I already know how to walk. I already know how to ride my bike. You know, I already know how to ride my bike, and then boom, you know, you hit a lamppost. I'm fine. I know exactly what I'm doing. I know how to drive in the, you know, in the slashing rain, and I've never done it before, but I'm going to go on the Autobahn and drive 95 miles an hour. I got this figured out. I got it. This is all just part of the adult ego that even allows for us to think about trading. But what you have to do is, and I've said this in the past before, is that in a way you have to suspend what you know for just the moment. I mean, we've only been on for 22 minutes. Imagine if it only took you 22 minutes a day to then come into the trade with the right frame of mind. Now, there's something that we can't deal with, though, is that everyone knows how to get in, but no one knows how to get out. And that's just the truth. There are people that will teach you, you know, how. It'll be based on profit. And then all of a sudden you'll find out, well, I thought I was going to get a little bit more. I thought that it was going to give me something. Dudes, okay? The trade does not exist to give you jack. Let's make sure that we understand that. The trade is a function of an auction going on. That's it. So imagine you're at a country auction, and you're in an old barn, and you were given a paddle, and maybe it cost you $5 to get your paddle. And you, from a distance, you see something that you think is of value, and you raise the paddle. Okay, you're willing to buy it at this price, and the auctioneer finds someone else who's willing to buy it at another price. But then you have the seller who's got their limit, and it's an auction, and it owes you nothing. So tailoring your position and knowing that the rules about that, if you are uncertain, get ready to be certain, because the trade is about to show you who's boss. So we always have to be very cognizant and thoughtful about what the hell is going on best we can. So we know, for example, that this particular trade has a lot of conflict and controversy and politicized viewpoints about what is Tether. So you have to include all that social quant stuff going on. But it looks to me that it's something that can be managed. If you didn't see the top, these are things that you can learn from candle studies, for example. Well, because I saw the high and the low as we were going in. Now, there are interior Fibonacci's, and we could draw many of them. They're called fibs and fibs. You have every right to do that. But it comes through experience and seeing, okay, and also I'm looking at real price on the right side of the chart, and it just seemed to me that the architecture of the 240 build might work out. But you can see that we could go in even where price is right now and do another Fibonacci. and manage it from there. If you were really like thinking about, listen, I need to manage this trade on a 5-minute. So do you want me to go a little deeper? Because we kind of basically stopped at the 30-minute, but if you want to go a little bit deeper, why don't we do that? So it's just a feel for things. You can try it yourself, and then over time, you'll kind of know, okay, that is a great swing. It's called a Fibonacci level swing. So they are they're place markers for me anyway, because I don't air quote trade Fibonacci. I look for Fibonacci to arrive at the condition, or the current condition is a good way of putting it, of what price is actually doing. So for me, it's a very like not very scientific. It's really built on if you've ever built a house out of toothpicks, it's kind of like that, knowing, or Jenga, knowing sort of where that tension point is, and then just using a tool, the closest tool that I have that's most powerful, which is the Fibonacci. And then you'll notice too that I have areas that are marked off inside the Fibonacci that let me know, okay, well, this is an area of the trade that I really want to concentrate on, and then I can go for a breakout play. And that's just one of many plays that you could take on this particular trade. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, it's a deep study. There's a great Stanford professor that does why I hate Fibonacci, or like why I don't believe in Fibonacci, and they are fantastic videos to watch. I've been meaning to put them in the description. Let me go ahead and see if I can grab those. And it's Stanford, and he travels around too. He's very, I don't know if he's retired now. His name is, here it is. You'll love this. So good. And then he's done several different ones. And it's better to start off with those people that don't believe it than working the other way around. At least that's what I've. And then of course I really like this professor. He's a very cool guy. So you want to look into that. And that will kind of give you a more classical view of what Fibonacci is supposed to do. And I think he's doing it in a little bit of tongue-in-cheek, full well knowing that, the financial markets have been using Fibonacci for a long, long time. And if they don't work, and this is what I've been pretty good at, if a tool does not work, I am not going to force it to work. It doesn't mean that it's not still part of my arsenal and that I'll keep trying it. But if it's not giving me readings or information or guidance, then I'm out. I'll just X out. If you've seen some of my bigger charts that go way back, you'll notice that I've got Fibonacci swings all the way along. Because sometimes I'm looking for, there can be one swing that happened in a certain way, and that trade will actually, because you get extensions, that trade will actually play out in the future. So it's a little bit of beauty's voodoo, but it's not anything that you can't kind of learn and have a sensitivity towards, because it's just a graphic tool. If it gives you the information, then you're cool. If it doesn't, you just let it go. Okay. We are going to move in a little deeper, one step deeper. Yes, we are. Okay, so we're on the 30-minute. Once again, for the replay viewers, we're doing an intensive on the BTC USDT, which is the Bitcoin Tether pair, over at Bittrex. And our core chart is the 30-minute, although we've done a full Condor's pass, and now we're just about to dive in. Everybody hold on. I go into the 15-minute. I'm going to try and make this look pretty for you guys. You know that this is where that one candle, a reversal, happened. We probably could count some of these ledges all the way up until there was some exhaustion up here. But the moment that the trade, and you'll see this, I'd seen this before too, was that the 12 eclipsing the 8. is a sign of weakness in the long. Now, it decided that it would take out a lot of money. It came slamming through the FME. But the Ruby long, as soon as it got over the FME line, which we've had in the chart the entire time, and it was holding up, you can manage your trade beyond that. I don't know what the profit was, but as soon as you were losing any kind of steam off the 618, which has been on the trade since the beginning, then you would have known, well, it's getting a little weak here, guys. What am I going to do? And what's crazy in this trade is that the sellers came in, and then what I'm thinking happened here is that the buyers came into short. So that's them loading up. You can barely see the 243 slicing through here, trying to hold the trade up best that it can, and then just falling apart. Okay, let me zoom in quite a bit. I hope that this isn't like horrible on your eyes or anything, but this is that range. And actually what we can do is, let's move this over. We can see now that we're getting a little bit of green here from Ruby. So when I had said that if it can bust through this channel, it's trying to do it right now. So we're getting a little bit of long green Ruby right in here. Very new though, like a fresh sprout. You don't have to jump into those. I don't know what your chart is actually telling you right now. You may be getting readings in this range right here. You'll have to tell me at 15,517. If you don't mind, maybe in your chart you can see if the FME was a decent call. If it needs to be moved around, then of course you would, because it might be located somewhere around here. I'm thinking that it's got to be located somewhere around here. So it's a valiant fight right here. And we'll go into the 5-minute so we can actually see it all happen. There's the ruby green right there. And we can see now that the the push to get through FME, very valiant, right? But great for the scalper. So the scalpers are definitely in this. They're taking the shorts, letting them go. The longs are coming in to go long. So it's a nice little fist fight. Not bad. It's a great 300 play right here. Some traders might be looking at the 96 as being their balancer, which is the line right here. And then we'll take a look at the 1 minute. Once again, we can see these really wily candles. There's some studies about this. There's just not enough interested persons. So we want nice full-bodied candles. And of course it's 9 o'clock, so I would mark the 9 o'clock hour off as well, since it looks like we're trying to get a push or in one direction or another, maybe based on time. There's 159. It's going to be right there. So we got the one right on the dot. The 9 o'clock candle was a buyer's candle. So let's see what sort of happens in the next 15 minutes or so. Let me move out to the 30-minute and get rid of the range, because you guys kind of know where that is. And let me see here. We can get rid of, I hope you took screenshots, Will. Let me see what else I should get rid of here. I think that's good enough. We're fine. And we'll go into I think the 3-minute looked like it was a pretty decent, there we go. That'll help us out. So we'll leave that on here for a little bit while we are asking ourselves questions. A horrible seller's candle here that just wicked back up to the FME. Sellers come in, crash it through the 243, powers back up again. Goes ruby long, and we just don't know if that's actually going to latch or not. Remember, ruby's built on the 60-minute, so that means that as long as this is green like this, it's calculated on a 60-minute bar, even though we're looking at a 3-minute bar. So we benefit from seeing what the bigger picture is, but looking at the trade from an interior point of view. Okay, let's see how the chat is doing. So how are you guys holding on? You guys holding on okay? All right, so let's go through the promotion of the channel. First of all, hi everybody, this is BeautyBubble. Sorry that the voice is down just a little teeny bit. I can get that way sometimes when I'm doing this sort of work. So if it kind of feels, monotone and not very, entertaining, I'm, I apologize for that. It's just that for me, it's as serious as it is for anyone else. It's trying to get, a grasp as to what's happening and what they need to be seeing in the future, and what can help them project a little bit, not tell the future, not predict the future, but be able to project what the potential moves are going forward. So let me see here. Okay, so this is how this thing works over at YouTube. We could keep doing this. It'll be 8 years at the end of January that I've been on YouTube. We could keep doing this, and there's and then there's nothing that happens, and nothing's happening because we are not letting YouTube know that we are here. So this is how this works. You have to thumbs up, or at least vote on the content. That is a must. Number 2, the share button allows you to you can actually craft your own share out to wherever you want to. But if we don't share it out, another thing, YouTube is thinking that we're not doing our job. The next thing is that, of course, participate in the live chat best you can. And then when it's all said and done, make a comment in the comment section. And all of those things put together will send a message to YouTube's bot and algo, and everybody talking about the secret box that they have. But imagine, right, showing up at someone's house and never saying, oh, sure, you want me to sign the registry? No problem. Oh, sure, you want me to, say thank you, or, give a thumbs up, or what have you, oh, okay. This life is not asynchronous. It involves all of us working together. Hence, chart, chat, connect. The ending part is to connect. We have to connect with each other, continue to help each other. For many of you, you will be in this trade for decades, So it's important that you learn how to connect with each other and be good listeners. But you don't have to follow, you don't have to be a lemming. That's why we do the no guru attitude here in my streams. And that's really it. So we will keep the chart up for a little bit here until maybe we've gone an hour long. And if anyone has any other comments or questions inside of the chat, go ahead and get those done. Let me see, what else should I say? I think that's really it. I'll just wait for your questions. I'll be monitoring the chat. Take a little bit of a break here while we're letting the trade run and do its thing over the next 45 minutes. I'll take it to the top of the hour, okay? Can I define a ledge? Okay, so this is what I do mostly for everybody, and it's not any different, because there are many glossaries out there, and I can show you what a stair-stepping, I'll start with a stair-step. Some people call them end ledges. Some people call them stair-step ledges. Hold on. It's not going to help me there. Stair-step. Hold on. Let me go to Bukowski. I know you probably heard of this site, so ledges. Go. All right, let's see if he's going to give me anything. I'm going to take my time with this, Will, because I want to make sure that I think you're kind of a math guy. Okay. Here's someone that, well, that's not good. He didn't. So if I keep finish up. The spike and ledge pattern from sideways market back in the ooh, that one isn't going to be really helpful. Ledge pattern on feed roll. Okay, so the ledges that they're going to show you here are sideways ledges. And I'll take you here. And what I want you to do is that when you're over at, we'll find about, we'll find 3 or 4 different ways of describing ledge. And here we come slamming down to the 243, which is the biggest EMA that we have on Ruby. And let's see what's going to happen. So a ledge, you'll find, like, some people, well, they might argue, well, that's a pennant and that's a flag and that's not a ledge. And I could bring you 15 different ways of, professional paywall traders that come up with different ways of describing things. So my training has been where you count the fractal. They're fractal ledges. However they're formed, they're still fractal based. They go up, they come down. They go up, they come down. And they can do this pattern for 4 or 5 times until they exhaust out. Now, when you look at, I've got a great, you know what I'll do? I'm going to do this tonight. I have a very cool printout from Andrew Cardwell, actually, that goes over ledge counts. And let me see if I can find the image real quickly, just on Google here. And the one that is like a cheat sheet that describes how these counted ledges or moves or fractals of moves happen. Now, the person that I gave you there deals with ledges from counting them on a sideways measurement. But they're still, nonetheless, they're still, in my view, without getting into some kind of semantics thing, one reason why I encourage you guys to go out and, and look at these things on your own. My non-exceeded bottom, descending divergence, high, high, high. Okay. Where is his little cheat sheet? Double bottom. Let's give me just a moment. I have this big job to do with my all my tools that I have. Okay, I'll look for it. But it describes the fractals as they move up and almost looking like an M pattern all the way up. Some people call them N's, and they're looking for these patterns as as price marches up, and they can be very organized. And in the rule set that I gave you there, he's looking for flatline ledges. He's not looking for move up, power move up, ledge out. Power move up, ledge out. And so, which is what I'm talking about, power move up and a ledge. It's a ledge of rest and retest. Power move up, ledge to test and retest, rest and retest, getting ready for the next move up. Okay, so why don't we take a look at the beta chart for, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the chart example that we had before. And let's go into BTC USDT on the Bittrex right here. All right. Now, being that this is all beta, I don't want you guys to get freaked out or anything like that. There's going to be a lot of stuff on this chart that won't, mean too much. But I want you to start seeing that a trade will go up, up. It'll hit a level of resistance, and it'll come back down. It'll go up. Now, I know that this is going to sound stupid, right? Of course, Beauty, the trade goes up and it goes down, but it goes up and it goes down in a certain pattern and with a certain amount of velocity as it is taking its fractals up. So, for example, in that training from before, he would have been looking at this as a ledge before the move up. In this case, we got an 80 base that took the candle all the way up to 92, and 100 is the top of the RSI. And then the trade just fell apart at the RSI. Comes down, fractals up, comes down back to the 80, more move, fractals up, retests, moves down. The 243 is awesome. Like, this trade has not been easy, okay? Like, there's no, maybe a better, this is why we need to get Andrew in here. He can describe, well, of course, we would have done this at the 60 to retest the 80. Once that's done, it comes down to come to the 55, does a slow retest there, comes down to test the 40 base, comes back up to the 55, and creates that W pattern that we have here. Once the W pattern is reached, we tried to fill in Bollinger. That didn't work. Comes back through to test the 243. Trade's getting squeezed right now. That's in the 15-minute. I try and keep this to the 15-minute, but just so that you guys can kind of see it on the 1 minute. Same sort of thing. Trade takes to the 80 base, comes to the 60, retest Bollinger. That's not going to work out. The trade's not going to go any higher, and it goes and it crashes through. And actually, it really did a bad move right here. This is bad. This is some kind of crazy stuff, because no one had a chance at the 55 to get out, and it lopped all the heads off, all the way down to the 40 base, and now it's just mucking around in here, getting ready for its next move. And in 2018, there's going to be a lot more talk from, the great men that built these tools. I do think it's very important that we stay connected with them, because they're the ones that have built, Andrew Cardwell's RSI is, world famous, just like John Bollinger. These are world famous and well-known men in the trade. They know what the hell they're doing, and they can come in and start dialoguing with us so that we have a better handle on these different ways and attitudes. So does that help at all? Maybe not. Maybe too much. On my Twitter this week, look for some more. I'll do some more graphics on Twitter. You're welcome. Yeah, it's really tough because I'm not a teacher. We're just narrators. We're just narrators. And the more people that are talking about what they see, then, like you said, now you have many things to research. That's usually the result, that's usually the comeback that I get by simply saying things. Now, just so that you know, a lot of teachers, they have their own syntax. They have their own, they have their own everything. Some of them have created their own, literally the way that they speak about everything. And I'm much more, like, okay, dude, if you want to call that, if you want to call that a dragonfly doji, then it's no harm, no foul to me, really. Now, if they're calling out big patterns. And I know that the pattern is broken, of course, right? It'll really like drive a dagger. But you know, you'll get your own sense of what is going on. And the right thing is for you to have a great chart in front of you that you fully grasp. And working up to that is hard because we have so many tools now, right? I mean, we can make these charts look like as though, well, I mean, my chart tells me everything. Well, it does if you know how to narrate. If you do know how to narrate it, then it's all golden and good, you know. Speaking of golden and good, I want to let you know that we are going to be writing a second cookbook that is completely focused on meat. We have heard from the gods above, from the Bitcoin gods, that apparently Bitcoiners are crazy with their diets. And a really great meat-only cookbook is what they want. Now, it could be that the master trolls just pulling my chain. I don't know. But anyway, we talked about it, and it sounded like it would just be like hella fun to do a meat-only cookbook. I can't say it's going to be as beautiful, 208 pages of gloriousness of the fall and winter, but I can tell you that it will be full of great recipes and beautiful photography, etc. All of that is coming your way. So I'm very excited about that. And then the newest project is books for Bitcoin. Books for Bitcoin. Once Lightning and payment processing and all of that becomes a little bit more fluid and able, and this whole idea of cup of coffee becomes more reasonable, then we are going to be doing books that are they're for Bitcoin only. And they are, the measurement of their value is just all in Bitcoin. So look forward to that. I'm pretty excited. See? Thank you, Nightbot. Thank you. It's like it knew what I wanted to say next. All right, guys. All right, we have 8 more minutes to go. And some of the glossary of terms that we went through right now would be, Beauty's Condor's Pass. There's a couple of traders out there, actually very famous traders that I taught this technique to. And you notice that it was like, it's 22 minutes. And, it's not any different than, it's just adding a few more moments to your day so that you've got a good idea. And then you can actually include more charts. Once you're in the flow of doing that, then of course you can add one chart, and probably within about 15 minutes you'll have a good idea. And if you spend any time away from the trade, definitely, go in there and do this sort of work. So learned about the Condor's Pass, a 35,000 mile view, 35,000 foot view of the trade. So we talked about that a little bit. Then we talked about the Fibonacci and how in the world, how do I locate these swings? And they're called Fibonacci level swings, okay, and the markings. And anyone that needs, you can take a snapshot to see my settings. And there are also very sophisticated traders that use different settings out there, so Fibonacci. And then we spoke about, knowing exhaustion candles. Things like dojis and dragonfly dojis and those kinds of candles. There are also some hammers that can act that way too. So we talked about exhaustion candles. Of course, we talked about the EMAs and how they can influence a position. And then Will's final question was about ledges, just the architecture of ledges versus pennants. I think that's how you spell pennants. Pennants versus fractals. I think that's a good start. So go be brave, look at all those things, go to images first in Google, and then kind of find something that you go, oh, well, that sort of looks like something I would understand, and then go in there and then go down the rabbit hole that way. I found that the imagery is a real point, it's a point of view. And if you can't get through the imagery, then of course we have to go back to, like the real super basic stuff. So the imagery, really important imagery on Google is like your friend definitely there. Today, someone had said about the baby pips, and I stopped at the Fibonacci studies over at baby pips. And it's so bizarre. It's like, oh my gosh, I enjoyed doing that work so much, these dry reads. And then I got to the Fibonacci, and they were so almost like nasty, snarky, and it just like turned me off. I was like, dudes, man, this is not good. How am I going to read this out loud? Like, because I can't read this. I can't show the pictures that they were showing. And so it kind of turned me off, and I stopped at the Fibonacci. But with a little bit more encouragement, I think it's a good idea that we go ahead and finish the Baby Pips course. Remember, this is babypips.com. And the dry reads that I do are just to get you back on get you back into the task work. It's easy going. It's just a matter of, sure, what's easy you never complete. And that's a real flaw. You have to, have some idea. The 243 is breaking down right now. You do have to have some idea of language and what is something, just generally what the lessons are and all the things that you might need to know. You don't need to know all of them. You don't need to be an expert at all of them, but you do need to have some things in your little fanny pack. Okay. I will go ahead and read with 3 minutes left. I am going to read Trader Rule number 6 and talk a little bit about this. Know your worth by doing the work. Nothing will ever change you but experience in the trade. It will find you out, it will mold your spirit, and it will break your heart too. So, in my disclaimer, it is really all about you. It has nothing to do with me or a guru or how much you pay for a course or you could read 1,000 books. It will all be of you, in you, by you. It's the most difficult vocation, the most difficult hobby or experiment that you will go through in your life. We don't know exactly why it's like that. But it is, and it just exposes everything that's in you. So be strong, resilient, always remain curious, just never stop learning. And once you get that earning thing done, then of course your life opens up to all the possibilities of learning new things. So with that being said, hashtag make money with beauty, hashtag if you want a relationship with me, put it on the blockchain. Bye.